Hello everyone. So once again this is Ali Inayat, and I guess now we have covered enough of the microeconomics that we can now talk about the demand, the supply and the market equilibrium. First of all, we will talk about the demand side. What is demand, factors affecting demand, the law of demand, the demand curve. After that we will look upon the supply, and once we will be done with the supply, we will look upon how these forces of demand and supply interact in the market to create this market equilibrium, and we will be also looking upon what are the factors that create shortages and surpluses and how different factors affect the market price and the market quantity. So first of all, we'll just start with the demand. So what is demand? Demand is basically, by definition, demand is the desire and ability to buy a good, or the desire and ability to purchase a good from the market. Here we have to look upon two things. The first one is desire and second is the ability. For example, I want to buy a newly launched iPhone X. So I have the desire to buy the iPhone X, but I do not have enough finances to buy this phone. So I am not able to buy new iPhone X. So I am not basically in the market. I am not demanding the iPhone X, although I desire it. But being not able to finance it, I am not the person who is demanding the newly launched iPhone X. Now the same thing goes for something for which I am able to buy, but I do not desire to buy them. For example, we have seen this fidget spinner coming into the market and gaining popularity in recent times, right? Although I am able to buy it, but I hated that toy. So basically I am not the one demanding the fidget spinner in the market. So my demand for fidget spinner does not exist, although I am able to buy it. So in order for something to be in my demand, I have to desire that good. There should be a desire in me to buy that good, as well as I should be able to buy that good at the given market price. So that constitutes the demand. So demand is the desire and the ability to buy any good XYZ in the market. So moving forward, we will look upon factors that affect the demand. The first factor and the foremost factor that affect the demand for any product, let me just use the pink, for any product is its price of the product. If the price of the product increases, the demand for the product falls. The second factor could be the income of the person or the change in income. Let's say the change in income. If the income increases, anyone would demand more of goods and services. If the income falls, the demand for goods and services would fall. The third factor that would affect the demand is the wealth. If I have more wealth, I would be demanding more of goods and services, because I know that I have more savings in my bag, so that I can consume more of goods and services. If I belong to a lower class family with no wealth, so I would be saving more of my income and consuming less of it. So my demand for goods and services would be lesser than others. Now another factor of demand would be the number of substitutes available. Right? So if there is a good which has so many substitutes available in the market, the demand for that good will be lower than the good for which there would be less substitutes available in the market. For example, there are some life-saving drugs for which we have no other substitute available in the market, so the demand for that good is higher than, for example, let's say some soft drink for which there are many substitutes available. For example, I want to have a soft drink, so I can choose between variety of flavors, then I can choose between variety of brand, for example Pepsi and Coke, right? So the number of substitutes available also affect the demand. Another factor that would affect the demand is the fashion, right? If something is in fashion, if something is in trend, so the demand for that good is higher, and if something is out of fashion, then the demand for that would fall with time. For example, the fidget spinner that became a fashion in recent time, so the demand for that increased rapidly, and now it is gradually going out of fashion, so the demand for that spinner is decreasing day by day. Right? And there are many other factors that affect demand. In fact, there are infinite number of factors that affect demand, and these are a few of them that affects the demand. But one thing which should be remembered is that the price is the one of the main factors that affect the demand of the good. Right? So now let's just move on and talk about the law of demand. The law of the demand states that the price of a product has a negative relation with the demand for the product. What does this mean? This means that if the price of the product rises, the demand for the product falls, and if the price of the product falls, the demand for the product rises. Right? And this can be shown graphically in the following graph. If I have price on y-axis and quantity on x-axis, then the demand curve would be downward sloping. Let's say this is P naught and this is quantity demanded Q naught at price P naught. So if the price would decrease from P naught to P1, the quantity demanded would increase from Q naught to Q1. Right? And this also goes the other way around. If the price increased from P1 to P naught, then the quantity would decrease from Q1 to Q naught. So this law of demand states the relationship between one of the most prime factors that affect the quantity demanded of a product and the demand of the product. Right? And this also drives the demand curve for the product. So now let's just talk about the movement along the demand curve. Let's say this is point A on the demand curve and this is point B on the demand curve. In order to move from point A to point B, let's say this is the price P naught and this is price P1. In order to move from A to B, I have to reduce price from P naught to P1. And this is quantity of A and this is quantity of B. So in order to move along the curve from point A to point B, I will have to change the price from P naught to P1. In other words, it can be said that the change in quantity demanded due to the change in price will be shown and will be illustrated through a movement along the curve from point A to point B. So now let's just have a look at an example about how to draw a demand curve. For example, these are the quantities in kilograms given of the wheat at different prices, and we can see as the prices decrease, the quantity demanded of the wheat increases. Right? So let me just put on the prices: 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Right? So this is the y-axis on which I have my prices, and on x-axis I will have my quantities. Right? Which start from 20, 25, goes on till 60, and my quantity is in kilogram. So I will plot all these points on the diagram to make my demand curve. Right? So the demand curve will look something like this. Although I have made a rough demand curve and this is not precise, but you guys have gotten the idea about how to draw a demand curve. So that's all for this video. And in my next video, I will be continuing with demand curve, and then I'll be covering the supply and the market equilibrium. Thanks for watching this video, and you can find this video and other videos at studyspacepk.com. Thank you.